Hey gang, welcome back to Dear Daddy's Garage. Today's video is going to be about putting brake pads on this 2000 Ford Focus. If you like videos like this, I suggest you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to see more. Okay, to start this process, I would suggest you set your parking brake, and then from there what I like to do is loosen up the lug nuts on the car. So I'll remove the little hubcap with a screwdriver, use my lug wrench to break the lug nuts loose, because it's easier to do this while the tire is on the ground. Then I will use my floor jack and jack up the car at the pinch weld, where this would normally be the same location you would use your scissor jack that you get out of the trunk of your car. From there, I will install or place a jack stand just for safety purposes. I will then remove the wheel and we'll take another look at it from there. Okay, this one's a little bit different just because of this clip design that they put on the caliper. So I'll show you more of that in just a second, but you're going to need a screwdriver, a 7mm, I say Allen head, but I think these are socket head cap screw, but 7mm. You'll need that. Probably a 3-inch extension and a 3/8 drive ratchet. Or you could just use an Allen wrench itself, as long as you had one at 7mm. A caliper compression tool. These are pretty basic. You can get these at any parts store. And for me, I like to use a mallet to break bolts loose. Now, the bolts are in the back here, or where your access point is, and there's little rubber or plastic caps you have to remove to get to those. Those come out. And then what I'm going to do is just show you this because it's convenient. These springs are built onto the brake pad. So if I show you this new set right here, open these up. That's the inner pad, as it has these little clips on the back side. And this is the outer pad. And here you can see that spring clip. It's kind of odd. I don't see any other cars that have this type of clip. So it's part of it. I'm going to take that off while we're here. So I'm going to take a screwdriver and hook behind and rotate that, and you can see it pops, and that'll release it enough to get it out of the way. But later on, you have to take this and get it on top of these pieces, these hooks, because this right now is going to want to stay in the caliper. Okay, this upper bolt is why you need this extension. You could probably get in there with an Allen wrench, you know, if you wanted to, but I'm going to have to come behind the brake hose and hook into it. This is where I normally use a mallet to break stuff loose. So I'll get that one loose, take the extension off. You can leave it on if you want, but I'm just going to take it off to get to the lower bolt. And I can show you these in a little more detail once I get the caliper loose. Okay, that one's loose. Okay, now what I'll do is take my screwdriver and hook behind the caliper, push it off, and rotate it up on top here. Now I can show you the bolts. You can see right there, if I pull this out, that's what you have. This is a good time to take some brake cleaner, something like that, on a paper towel, clean these, and put some grease on these so they slide easier, but I'll take care of that in just a second. I want to show you the pads. So this outer one, as I was saying, you have to get this around these little cleats that are hanging out, and then it's going to have these little springs that hang on as well, but you just slide up, it comes right off. so it has multiple contact points. As you can see, that pad is pretty well gone. Now the inner one, I'm not going to take that off just yet. I'm going to use it as a resistance point for my compression tool. And all this does is put pressure on the front side of the caliper, and as I rotate this, it pushes the piston back in to the caliper. Let me point something out at this point. When you're compressing the caliper, it's pushing fluid back up into your reservoir. So you need to monitor this, because if it's been serviced over time, having oil changes or something like that, and they've added more fluid, it's going to want to push up and try to exit the top here. What I normally do is I have this little syringe, just a generic type of syringe. It's not really a medical syringe, and I use that to extract fluid out of that reservoir. You can also use something like a turkey baster, but just know those things are not to be used for anything else after you do that. So I'm going to monitor that. I don't think I'm going to have to remove any, because I have not added fluid to this, and I think it'll be fine. Okay, I will continue to compress the piston, and again monitor the reservoir up on top. Another way you could do this is there's a bleeder on the back of the caliper. I'll see if I can show that to you in a second here. Some people will open up the bleeder slightly and compress the piston and push the old fluid out of the caliper and just add more fluid to the top. You can do that, especially if your fluid is kind of old. That's just another option. I'm just doing the standard type of thing. So you can see there, pull that off. That bleeder is right here. So if you've never bled brakes before, this is your little brake bleeder, and I'm not doing a video on that right now, but that's what that is for. Now at this point, what I want to do is clean up these little bolts. So I have a rag here. I'm going to just spray some brake cleaner on and clean those up, and clean up the other one. Then what you can do is you can buy those little packs of grease. They sell them at the auto parts store. I don't have any of those with me, so I'm just going to use some standard wheel bearing grease that I have. Just put a little coating on that and reinsert that back into the guide there. Doesn't take much. Just acts as a lubricant for the caliper to move in and out as the brake pads compress, or as they wear out. So that's in place. Make sure you clean up your fingers and your gloves. You don't want any grease getting transferred onto the brake pads. Okay. Now I'm going to take the inner pad, and sometimes you have to kind of trick it into place by hooking 2 of the 3 prongs and pressing the third one in place while you push in. So that takes care of that one. And then this outer one, again, has this weird spring thing. And you'll see these guides slide down. And then I'm going to hook it behind these 2 tabs here. And that's all I'm going to do at the moment. I want to get the rest of it, when it's in place, back on the car. So make sure you don't have your hose twisted as well. And when I rotate that caliper, I keep track of which way I've turned it. And you'll see if that hose, it has white writing on it typically, or a white line. If you see that twisted, you've done something wrong. As you slide this on, you need to make sure that the bolts are retracted enough that you can get it past the bracket, and then you can press in on the bolt and tighten it. Thread that back in. Same way with the bottom. put the little caps back on, the rubber sleeves on the back side. Now, the last thing to do is hook this spring. And again, this is kind of a weird configuration, so I'm going to take this screwdriver and hook it and try to rotate this back. Try to get them both back at the same time. Maybe it would help to have two screwdrivers, but I think I can get it. There we go. That's in place. Again, that's kind of a weird setup. I don't know why it's designed that way, but that's it. So from there, put your wheel back on, remove your jack stand, lower the car, and then, you know, take it for a drive. Make sure you pump the brakes before you try to pull away, because you want to build the pressure back up onto these pads. Alright, that'll be the end of this video. I hope you found some useful information. If you would, throw a thumbs up on there, leave a comment, let me know what you think of this video, and stay tuned. There will be more videos like this in the future. In fact, that little Honda you see sitting right there, that's going to be one of my future videos because the front end is wrecked on that car, so I'm going to do a rebuild on it, but I'm waiting on parts to arrive from overseas. Big delays there. But I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks to all of the people that have joined me on Patreon. I appreciate you very much. I have products available on Amazon, t-shirts and mugs and stuff like that available on Teespring. So if you're interested, have a look at those. But that's going to be it. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.